So I'm going to start with a very quick presentation, since I have 10 minutes, I believe. This is what I was told. I have only 50 slides, so we're going to run. Okay, so I'm going to brief you about PMU information systems for two aspects. The first is about plans for the future and a project and a study that we've been conducting over the past year. And we'll go also through an initiative that we have launched with some of our colleagues some time ago about an international IT benchmark. So let's go for the first piece. A very quick introduction about what we do in PMU. I'm not going to tell you what a wagering system is. Everybody knows that. What I can add on top of what everybody is doing is that the PMU is open every day, 365 days per year, and the sales are open 23 hours and 45 minutes per day, meaning that we run continuously. That is putting some high pressure on the systems, on the teams permanently. Our key figure, and that's a thing which I'm always looking at, even though Philippe is no longer in the room, when we have a failure, at the worst moment, 10 minutes of outage represent a loss of 1 million of sales. So this is driving our activity, and this is what we are looking at every day. Having made this quick introduction, this is about our wagering system. PMU's wagering system is a bespoke solution. It was made by some major service companies some time ago, back in the 90s. It was born and it went live in the beginning of 2000, and it's been live for 10 years. We've been doing many things with that, making a lot of projects, a lot of evolutions all over the past 10 years, and we have also made some significant changes in the systems with the market opening that Philippe mentioned earlier, when we started our new activities with sports betting and poker. At the same time where we were doing all that work, we have faced in 2009 some major reliability issues, which led us to put in place a major plan for strengthening the system, strengthening the procedures, which has led us to reduce our delivery pace. Now we have to go through a very long path of 11 to 12 months before delivering any project, because we do some testing, because we do a lot of preparation work, just to make sure that when we deliver a new version, we don't break anything. Once we've done that, back at the end of 2010, Philippe Germont asked me, what about the future? What are you going to do, and what will be the system for the PMU in 10 years, 10, 15 years from now? So this is about the study that we've started at that moment to deal with what will be the continuation. Should we do something, and what should we do? So we've been going through 4 different scenarios that we established pretty quickly. The first one consisted in keeping our system, which is a bespoke system again, and reinvesting in it and making some adjustments in the application. The second one consisted in a more ambitious change by changing the hardware, so changing the whole technology, keeping the application, but again refurbishing it and making it evolve progressively. Third one was to replace our system by a market software provided by any vendor on the place. Some of them are in the room, and that kind of change would imply, compared to the other ones, change in the business processes, changing everything in the business processing by adopting a new package software. And then the fourth option consisting in trying to purchase some code or launch a co-development project with a colleague, but this track ended very quickly. We didn't find any opportunity around that scenario. Along with the study, we've been doing a lot of things, and we've been talking a lot with our colleagues in different operators. And we've come out with a few key learnings about what our colleagues are doing with their systems. The first point is that nearly 80 to 85% of the wages today in the world are managed with bespoke systems. So the huge base and all the biggest operators use bespoke systems. There is, beside those specific systems, there is a certain number of market software that exists and that have market share, and we know them pretty well. However, there is no standard that emerges, and this market is still pretty small and pretty dispersed. Another thing, everybody is questioning themselves every 10 years, more or less, and this is the right period where we have a certain number of colleagues, the names are mentioned here, who are going through the same kind of evaluation and who are thinking about what should we do, should we replace, should we renew, blah, blah, blah. Some of them have already decided to launch a project. Some of them have not decided yet, but you have the names here. It's a lot of people thinking of the same thing at the same time. For the main operators who deal with the biggest volumes, most of them are still sticking to bespoke systems, so the next generation would be probably in the continuation of what they have been doing up to now. However, everybody is looking at what the market software are proposing. And if I have a message here for the vendors, really, there is some opportunities to invest in that market so that you can get to catch one of those big customers and start to establish a standard on the market. The winner among those scenarios was the second one. So we are going to change technology. We are going to replace our platform, switching from a mainframe to Unix Linux. And we are going to renovate the application, but we will be keeping the key programming languages. So this is a decision that we made back in last winter, and we are now preparing things to launch a program which is a strategic one for our company with 4 major objectives. The first one is agility. We are aiming at reducing our time to market so that we can develop, implement much quicker new offerings or whatever in the wagering system within that kind of time frame. Robustness, but getting back to the volumes that we are dealing with, robustness is absolutely the key. We have to be available, we have to be performant. And you know the story by heart. What the punters are looking for is performance and availability. They want to be able to bet at the last second before the race departure, and they want to be able to place their bet at that moment. And this is putting high pressure on the whole chain just because of that. Sustainability, we want to make sure that within a time frame of 10 to 15 years, the technology and the skills, especially the skills, so the people who are knowledgeable to run, operate, and build those kind of systems will still be there. And this is one of the key issues that we have today internally in PMU. And finally, mastering. We do consider that we have put outsourcing a bit too far in the past. We acknowledge that that system is totally key to our business. If it fails, there's no business. So we will be trying and pushing to reinforce some skills and make sure that our staff totally masters the conception and the detailed design of what is inside the box. This is key and this is strategic to us. Very briefly, the usual story. It's a mess today, and the future is going to be perfect. Of course, things never happen like that. Never mind. As a highlight, so we're going to change the hardware. We're going to reorganize all the software, and on top of that, we'll be adding new offerings, whatever the offerings, and this is not contractual. Forget about the new products. It's just ideas. There's nothing decided. And that project will take 5 years, so it's going to be a long, long path. Sorry. And the program, we've called it EASY. For our American colleagues, you may recognize an easy button. So for the ones who do not know what it is, it's a stupid button that when you push on it, it says, that was easy. I dread it's not going to be that easy. Benchmarking. When I joined the company some years ago now, I've been looking for one key indicator which I didn't find. Our industry is particular. The betting industry and horse race betting in Pari Mutuel is very specific, and it's putting some particular constraints or objectives or requirements on IT. And the key question I had was, how much does a Pari Mutuel operator must spend in his IT? And I had no answer. So in parallel with the study that we conducted, we have initiated this benchmarking, which is aiming at establishing common KPIs with our colleagues so that we can share some information and some ratios about 3 different topics: budget, activity, generally speaking, and organization. And of course, this has to be put in relationship with the business activity. So the aim of this benchmark is to establish key indicators and to develop progressively the evaluation of what we are doing and being able to compare what we are doing within our industry. So we made the data collection back last semester, at the end of 2011, and this benchmark is covered by very strong non-disclosure agreements. So I'm not going to show you very detailed figures, just a highlight of what it can provide. But it's been a pretty interesting work, and all the people who've been part of the game have been pretty satisfied. A first example is about business activity. We've been measuring very precisely what's the activity, the number of days of races per year, the number of meetings, the number of races per year. That kind of metrics will have an influence on IT and on the systems. So there are a few players who operate almost every day. You know, some of our Asian colleagues are running 2 meetings per week, so it's around 100 per year. And in terms of number of meetings, there are different numbers. The highest will be running 9,000 meetings every year by selling tons of races, of foreign races, sorry, non-local races. So that coming from that kind of business metrics, we've been also comparing key figures about IT staff inside the companies, and also establishing metrics about budget and trying to make a distinction between the run budgets versus change. So run budgets is purely day-to-day operations, and change being projects. Without uncovering confidential data, as an average, what I can tell you is that operators today spend around 1.2% of their yearly wages in IT as an average, the variance being a pretty high still, between 0.8 and 2.2%. Again, another thing that we have tried to compare is how much money do we put in our terminals and self-service terminals. As you know, this is a significant budget for operators. And there are some significant differences. Don't look at the figures. there are some significant differences between the different operators. Never mind, it's leading us to question things like, what's the right price? Would we have an interest in launching common sourcing initiatives? By putting some sourcing power in common, this would be a negotiation effect. So make ready, dear providers. And this was just a few examples of the key metrics that we have gathered. I will not go longer with more details, but this was a first step. We are now preparing the next step, which will be version 2 next year, with a series of priorities. First point is we still need to clean up data and make sure we compare apple to apple. We will also extend the number of KPIs and trying to get to have figures such as IT cost per bet, which can be very interesting. And we are also looking for enlarging the number of participants. So if you operators interested in that kind of initiatives, please contact me. And also we'll be pushing for increasing the level of analysis, so making decisions and taking actions in common all together once we have analyzed our key figures. I hope I have matched the 10 minutes. Thank you very much for listening.